out of nowhere, you look at me, you just smile. And you start taking out the kitchen knife.
Oh, hell no. Hey everybody, and welcome back to That Just Happened with Vaughn
And Sean?
And today we are gonna be switching it up today in honor of Halloween. And we are gonna tell you guys some creepy and spooky stories.
So I have to give a huge shout out to a YouTube channel called Dolby Kungpo Studio. It's from their YouTube channel, but I'm just relaying the story in English. For this story scenario, let's just call him Bob, the main character.
Okay.
So Bob, he works in a company where you like sell equipments. He was successful, you know. He had some cash because he was very into stocks and he was a pretty good businessman. And one day, he was smoking outside of his office with his coworker, and his coworker was like, "Yo, why don't we go overseas, go on a vacation?" And he was like, "Yeah, I haven't been on a vacation in a while. Let's do it. Flight tickets are cheap." And they're like, "Let's go to Vietnam."
Okay.
Not bad.
Nice place everybody wants to, yeah.
Right? It's a very popular destination. Fast forward to 1 month later, they end up going to Vietnam. And two guys, it's what do you guys do? You know,
like they're gonna party.
Yeah, exactly. In the daytime, they go out and eat food and shop, and it's two guys, and nighttime hits, and they go to a hostess bar. Okay, so where they're hostess and women come out and they entertain the guests. So he was sitting in the bar and he was looking across and he was trying to find his ideal type.
Just like sizing them up, checking them out.
He's checking them out, and he found one. He's like, "Oh, she's cute. I like her." So they spend a lot of time together, actually. Not only at the bar, but she goes to his hotel. They spend a couple nights together. His friend also gets a girl, so they start double dating and they have a good time. And then he comes back home to Korea, and it's just weird because before he sleeps, after that Vietnam, but you know that state when you're sleeping and it's like you're half awake but you're half.
Yeah, you're kind of in the middle.
He can smell something, and it's pleasant, but he couldn't exactly pinpoint on exactly what it is.
This is while he's back in Korea?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then fast forward a couple days later, his friend, he's outside smoking outside of his office, and his friend calls him, and he was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And he was like, what a way to greet.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Your friend.
He was like, "What the hell are you talking about? Like, what are you on about?" And the friend says, "Why the hell are you walking around in public with a tank top and panties?
What?
With no shoes on? What the fuck are you doing?" And he's like, "What the hell are you talking about? Like,
yeah, he's standing there like,
why are you comparing me with some bum or some idiot or like, a homeless guy?" He was like, "No, I'm just worried about you. What are you doing?" And he was like, "Dude, I'm at work. I don't have time for this shit. I'm gonna hang out." And he hangs out. A couple hours later, after he gets home after work, his friend calls again and says, "Hey, I'm gonna give my phone to another guy that was with me, and they all know each other, right? I'm gonna give my phone to another guy, and he'll tell you." Gives the phone. He's like, "Hello, dude. I literally saw you. I went in front of you, and I asked you like, 'Yo, what's going on?' And you would just walk like a zombie and just pass by me."
So is this like a doppelganger or something like that? Like,
so he's like, "I don't have time for this shit. Like, we're not in high school anymore. This is some bullshit."
he thinks they're fucking with him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He couldn't go to bed because it's bothering him. He just couldn't go to bed, and he was like, "You know what? I'm gonna go to in Korea we have something called 경비실. 경비실, for those that don't know, is a security guard. It's like a little room where the security guards stay in front of the apartment complex.
Like the little box.
Yeah, right. So he was like, "You know what? I'm gonna go down to the 경비실 and I'm gonna check the CCTV footage. Let's see if it's actually me."
Yeah, that would be crazy.
So he went down and he asked the security guy, "Hey, can I check the CCTV?" He checks it. It's actually him.
It's him.
It's him.
But he doesn't remember this.
So he was just like the friend said. He was wearing a tank top. He was wearing panties and no shoes.
And just wandering the streets, walking around.
All the CCTV footage shows is him coming down up the stairs and then going out of the entrance.
And that's it. That's all he can see.
That's all he can see. And the security guy is like, "You do this all the time."
What?
And he was like, "What do you mean I do this all the time?"
So is he like sleepwalking or something?
Exactly. He was like, "Wait, but if I'm walking around the street with bare foot, that means that my feet should be dirty. It's not. It's never dirty though. So at this point, he's in like this crazy mental state where he's so confused with everything, and he's like, I never had a problem with sleepwalking. So his solution was, I'm gonna get a CCTV in my house. I'm gonna,
install the camera.
Install the camera. So he does that the next day. That night, after he installs it, he goes to bed. Again, he can smell them.
Like the sweet smell or whatever.
Smell. But he finds out, at that moment, he pinpoints exactly what smell that was.
What was it?
It was the shampoo smell of the girl.
The girl. That's what I was going to say.
So he exactly finds out what it was, right? And then he's like, it's that Vietnam girl smell. The next day, he was like, okay, let's check the CCTV footage. It was him.
It is him, actually.
He goes out of his house. A couple hours later, he comes back. He takes a shower, drinks the water, and goes back to bed and sleeps.
And has no idea, especially because he wakes up and he's clean.
Yeah. Days keep going by. And then at one point, it got so bad to the point where he comes out of his room, hugs a curtain, wraps it up, hugs the curtain, and starts speaking some gibberish. So after he saw that, he was like, okay, this is serious, right? So one of his solutions after that was, okay, I'm gonna ask my friend to stay over.
So someone can watch him or like stop him.
So he calls a friend over and then they're hanging out, right? And he's like, yo, I have this problem, I have this sleepwalking problem. You have to stop me. And his friend was like, what do you want me to do? He's like, I need you to hit me as hard as you can and wake me up. And the friend's excited at this point. He's like, I can really hit you? Like, how hard?
He's like excited,
hard?
yeah.
I can really hit you hard? He's like, yeah. And he's like, let's do it, I'm down. The friend slept in the living room and he slept in the bedroom. Again, he smells the shampoo, goes to bed. And then, you know those moments where someone lights a flash at you? It's like, it's bright, right? He gets a flash and he wakes up. And he's in his living room standing up. But that friend's expression was just
scared.
Fucking fear.
So what was he doing?
He was shaking and he was like, he couldn't breathe properly. And then he just slowly takes a seat on the couch. And he was like, dude, what the hell's going on? What's wrong? And the friend says, who are you? He's like screaming, like, who are you, right? And then he's like, dude, what the hell is going on? And then he's like,
so is he like transforming into something?
So he was like, what the hell, what happened? And the friend's like, you literally came out of your room, went to the bathroom. So I was like, okay, I guess he's just going to the bathroom. You start going into the kitchen. But then when you were walking, it didn't seem like you were walking. It was like a zombie walking. So I was like, oh, okay, this is what he's talking about. So I went to go wake you up. Out of nowhere, you look at me, you just smile. And you start taking out the kitchen knife.
Oh, hell no.
And at this point, he was so scared, right? So what does he do? He starts begging.
But please, don't kill me. Don't kill me.
And he was like, but you were speaking some gibberish. It sounded like a Southeast Asian, Vietnamese.
That girl.
So he was like, do you speak that kind of language? He was like, no. He was like, the mate Bob was like, wake me up in that state. And he slapped the shit out of him, and then he woke up.
And that's when he
woke up.
Flash, yeah.
And the friend was like, I'm out of here. Like, I can't. This is bullshit. Like, this is, you know what I mean?
This is the one person that he's supposed to help him, yeah.
He was like, I'm out. And then he leaves. And so at this point, he's like, okay, this is really bad now, right? So he starts going to many different mental hospitals and going to a bunch of different places. And he would show them the CCTV footage and everything. But they were like, dude, this is beyond our help.
They couldn't help him. They couldn't do anything.
They said this is beyond scientific explanation.
So what are you supposed to do?
So in Korea, we have something called mudang. They're like shamans. They're basically people that kick out evil spirits. He goes to 3 different shamans. They all say different things that you have to do. He realizes that none of them mention anything about Vietnam. So he was like in this state of confusion, and he finally has a drink with his friend, and his friend says, and he tells him everything. And he's like, dude, if you had a problem in Vietnam, doesn't it make sense to go to Vietnam?
That's what I would do, yeah.
And he was like, you know what? Yeah, that makes sense. And without hesitation, he gets a flight ticket, goes to Vietnam.
Oh yeah, I'd be on the next flight.
Yeah, and then luckily through people, he was able to find somebody in Vietnam that can help him out. And he goes to this shaman in Vietnam. And it's so funny, it was like a nice ass house in the middle of like a very shit village. It was outside of the city. Goes to the house, in the middle of the living room, there's like this old old guy.
Just like sitting in the middle.
He's like this 80-year-old old dude. The 80-year-old guy is like, you fucked up. He was like,
what did he do?
what do you mean I fucked up? He's like, you broke a girl's heart. I'm like, no, I didn't. I didn't break a girl's heart. I literally treated her with respect. I paid what I had to pay. We had a good time. I don't know what you're talking about. Please, I didn't get here to get shit on. Could you please help me? I need help. And he was like, kneel in front of me, right? So he kneels and he comes behind him. And the shaman puts his hand on his head. And then he starts speaking gibberish, the shaman. In that exact moment, he smells the shampoo.
So he's pulling it out.
And then a couple minutes later of that, the shaman sits back down and Bob sits back down. And the shaman says, you're fucked. You're gonna die.
Oh,
That's it. He just says, you're gonna die. And he kind of gets pissed off at the shaman and then just tries to leave. But the shaman, before he leaves, he says, if you really want to survive, get that girl's forgiveness.
Yeah. I was gonna say, he probably has to go back to that girl.
So he goes to that hotel that they stayed in together. And apparently in that hotel, what they did was they had to sign in, handing in their passports. And he remembers she did too. So he's like, oh, okay, I can see the records and I can find out her name and I can find her. So he goes to the hotel and the hotel workers are like, we can't tell you.
Because it's confidential stuff, yeah.
So, and money talks. So he gives him some cash and he's just,
here you go.
Right.
Yeah.
He starts looking and then he's like, what day was it? He says, you came here alone. And he was like, what do you mean I came here alone? I came with a girl.
Is the girl like a witch or something?
He's like, no, there's no fucking way. There's just no way because I came here with a girl. I spent time with her. There's no way. He calls his friend. Dude, remember when we were in Vietnam and we did a double date and I was with this girl and he was like, what are you talking about? He was like,
so there was no girl?
He was like, what are you talking about? I tried to introduce you to girls, but you said you don't want any. Hangs out with a friend and he goes to the bar. Finally, one girl recognized her because he did have a photo of her on his phone.
Okay, so there's a real girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he did have a photo of her and he was just showing her picture around. It's like, do you know this person? Do you know this person? Finally, one girl said, I do. Oh yeah, she died. It's like, what? She died? I have to give her forgiveness, right? And he kept paying her, please tell me more about this. Tell me more about her. She was like, fine. And she goes and makes a phone call. She makes a phone call and she comes back and says, yeah, she's 100% dead.
She's dead.
When did she die?
Well, it should be like years ago.
This date. And it was way before he came to Vietnam.
Bruh.
So at this point, he's like, just freaking out. And he's keep paying her. Please tell me more about this. How do I get rid of this thing? And she finally, after paying her a lot of money, she says, bring a sacrifice.
Like somebody pass it off to somebody else.
Bring a sacrifice. And at this point, in that desperation state, he's like, okay, we'll do. He goes back to Korea and starts calling everybody he knows. Let's go to Vietnam, let's go to Vietnam.
Trying to get people on a trip, yeah.
One of the person that he calls is the guy that told the story to the guest. That the guest came to the YouTube channel, right? Bob calls him and says, oh, you want to go to Vietnam? He's like, Vietnam? What do you mean Vietnam? I have to work. Like, I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah.
Why don't we just grab a drink? So they drink and Bob is just crying.
Telling him everything.
Crying, bawling his eyes out and saying, like, I'm so sorry I called you for a sacrifice, but this is what happened. Fast forward to a year later, Bob dies.
So he actually,
he died.
It was real.
But he died of starvation.
Just couldn't eat, couldn't do anything?
Yeah, which is funny because apparently he was a pretty big dude. He died of starvation, right? And they're at the funeral and this is the guy that is
told the story
is there at the funeral. And you remember that coworker that went to Vietnam? He was there as well. And that coworker was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get all this equipment, I'm gonna sell it. And in that exact moment, he looks at him and he's like, you asked him to go to Vietnam. Why did you ask him to go to Vietnam? And he was like, oh, it was just for vacation. Like, I just wanted to have fun with him. And he keeps looking and he's like, it's you, isn't it?
That's fucked up. He sacrificed him.
No, it's you, isn't it? Talk to me, look at me, right? When that guy looked up and looked at him, that
he could tell, he knew.
He said that he never seen that kind of gaze before from a human being. He said it was some demon shit. So now we have to think, is he still cursed? Or him making that sacrifice just made him into the devil and made him that evil? So
That's
what
wild.
I think, and that's the story.
That's crazy. That's wild. That's not what I thought you were
So I
gonna
mean,
tell.
apparently that this is a real story that actually happened. Yeah.
Especially like you said, like I know you told me it was a longer story before, so I want to
Yeah,
know
it's
like
like
all the
40
details that are
minutes.
missing. Yeah. But it's crazy that it's like a real person telling this, and
Yeah. So to me, this story was kind of like a hybrid,
Yeah.
like a ghost story, but also it's human.
real people. Yeah. So you got to be careful who you sleep around with, I guess, and who you tell you're on a
Yeah,
first
moral
date
story
with.
is don't fuck Vietnamese girls.
No.
I guess that's the moral story, isn't it?
Jesus. All right, so since it's Halloween,
Yes.
we're gonna do a little segment called Rate the Halloween Costumes. So right now we're gonna go on TikTok and look at people's Halloween
So
costumes.
let's rate it 1 through 10.
Okay, 10 being the best.
Yeah, 10 being the best.
Okay, let's go through the first one. Oh, the Powerpuff Girls. I think that one was awesome. Yeah. What'd you think about it? I'm gonna give this one a 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like I said, there's an episode where there's these 3 guys that are in jail, and they're like, oh, how can we get out of jail? Let's dress up as the Powerpuff Girls.
Right.
So they're like, we're the Powerpuff Girls, like, let us out. But they look literally like these guys.
I would say, yeah, 10.
10?
I think these guys you gotta go party with these guys.
I would party with them.
I think just their energy, I would say 10.
You know they're fun dudes.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Who up in there?
Wait, what is this?
hell is
What is
that?
this?
Okay.
Oh, that's creative. This is creative, yeah. Let's see. What do you rate it?
Dude, that's a 15 out of 10. That's hard work. You know how much effort you have to put in to make that?
I'm gonna say
I'll give him a 15 out of 10.
costume, I'm gonna give him 10. Functionality, like him trying to get around the bar and stuff like that, that's gonna be really hard. Next one. Oh, Shrek and Fiona.
I love Shrek. I absolutely love Shrek.
Oh wait, they have they're dressed up as everybody.
Everyone like from Shrek, huh?
Everybody. When the whole squad is on point, it's a 10. Yeah.
The gingerbread man.
Yeah.
This
Look, I'm chopping. They got the dog in here.
Wait. It gets better and better in each video.
The 3 blind mice. Yeah, 10. 15, 20.
I love Shrek.
Me too.
If this isn't your couple's costume this Halloween, do you even bother going out?
Oh, they're
Oh, so he's doing
Justin Bieber and
Haley
Bieber.
What's her name?
Haley Bieber. So what's your rating?
I don't know, man. It's not really a Halloween costume.
I think it's funny,
Yeah, it's
but
just-
I'll give it
it's
a
just com-
3.
it's
Like
comedy,
if you don't know like who they are, what the situation
I would
is.
probably just think he's casually just not participating in Halloween if
Yeah.
I saw him. So I'll give him a 2.
2.
Yeah. I mean, it's a funny video.
Oh, Bob Ross. She dressed up as the painting.
Dude, I love Bob Ross.
I love Bob Ross.
Bob Ross.
I think this is good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 7 for them.
I like this.
Yeah.
This is an 8. 8 out of 10. I love the mustache, the beard, and like the wig.
Yeah, that's all of them though. So everyone did pretty good this year, I'd say. For that
What's the worst costume you've seen?
Usually people like try, or like I don't know, if people just do like a little bit of blood and they're like, oh, I'm a vampire.
That's what I did.
0 effort. 1.
That's what I.
1. Yeah. Do you ever worry about stalkers by any chance?
No, I have not experienced like in front of my house and stuff like that.
That or just like constantly like messaging, calling,
constantly
threatening.
calling.
So this is a story about a woman named Dorothy Jane Scott. So she was a 32-year-old woman, single mother, lived in California, and just lived a normal life. Like everyone knew that she was this like devout Christian, never bothered anyone, never did drugs or anything. They said her life was very boring. She would just go to school. She would go to work and go home, and she had 2 jobs. That's all she would do.
Right.
So she didn't really deal with a lot of people outside of her family. Like she lived with her aunt, and her parents lived close by, and she had a 4-year-old son named Sean.
Really?
So yeah, and so that's all she did. She just cared for her kid. And one day, while she was at work, she got a phone call from somebody, and they just like claimed to know her and was just talking nonsense on the phone. And she just kind of brushed it off as a prank call. But then the calls kept coming in.
Okay.
And then they started calling her house and stuff. And it was a man's voice, and he would constantly stalk her and tell her things that only she would know about herself, like things of her personal life. He would describe to her her daily routine just to prove that he'd been watching her for so long, which is scary in itself. And one day he had called her, and he was like, I want you to come outside because I left a present for you. So she ends up going outside. There's no trace of the man anywhere. And he had already described to her like what she was wearing, everything. And she goes to her car and there's like a dead rose on her windshield. And so that freaked her out. And, you know, she had told people before, you know, because he keeps calling, he calls all the time. I kind of recognize the voice, but I can't really pinpoint it.
Ah, so it's probably someone that she might know.
Someone she might know, but remember, this is a homebody. She doesn't have many friends or anything like that. Everyone's thinking maybe it's an acquaintance, someone she met maybe once or twice.
Right.
And that's it. Like I said, the calls keep coming in, and they would range from like, he would be very, just admire her and fawn over her, like, you're so beautiful, you're the love of my life, I'm in love with you, you're this and that. And sometimes it would switch and he'd be very aggressive towards her and just be very mean and like
So
threaten her.
He's a crazy motherfucker.
He's a crazy person, yeah. But keeps bothering her. And at one point he had told her, so next what's gonna happen is you're gonna come to me, and once I get you alone, I'm gonna cut you up into so many bits that no one will ever find you. That's
What a way to
scary.
get grab a girl's attention.
Girls attending, right? Yeah, let her know that you're looking
What
for
if
her.
someone called you and said that?
Oh, dude, the police would be outside my door everywhere. Like, I would never go anywhere alone, like, honestly. After that, she thought about getting a gun because she was like, I need to protect myself. Like, this is getting out of hand. No one's doing anything about it. But she had her 4-year-old son, so she didn't want to have a gun in the house.
Okay.
So she was like, all right, I'm going to start taking karate classes. I'm going to learn how to defend myself. So she starts karate classes and then goes missing a week later. So she didn't have any time to really learn any self-defense skills at this point. I don't remember the exact date, but it was like May of 1980. It's like 9 p.m. and she's going to a work meeting with all her coworkers. So it's her, her coworker Pam, and a guy named Conrad. And during the meeting, they realize that Conrad's not looking too good. He looks kind of sick. He has this like red mark on him. He just looks very ill. And they're like, you need to go to the hospital. We don't know what's wrong with you. Dorothy, Pam, and Conrad all get in the car. First, they go to Dorothy's house, and she was wearing this black scarf, and she wanted to check on her son, so she changes the scarf out for a red one, which is important later for the story. And they go to the hospital. So Pam claims up and down that the whole time they were in the hospital, Dorothy never left her side, not even once, not even to go use the phone or anything like that. Conrad gets treated and everything, and they're like, oh, we need to get the car, but obviously Conrad is still feeling pretty weak. So Dorothy's like, hey, I'll go get the car, and I'll pull around, and you guys can come out to the front. She only left Pam's side once to go to the bathroom, and then comes back to tell them that they're doing the car, so that she's gonna get the car, and then she leaves. So they're waiting around, waiting. Dorothy doesn't show up. They go out to the front, she's not there. They're like, all right, like maybe she's still in the parking garage. So they go down to the parking garage, they're looking around for her. They see her car, and it is speeding towards them. It's her car, but the high beams are on, so they can't see who's driving. They have to get out of the way. It speeds around the corner, and that's it. But they're like, okay, maybe she got some bad news about Sean or something. She had a family emergency, she had to leave. So they wait a bit, and they wait, and then they're there for a few hours still at the hospital, hoping she'll come back. She doesn't come back. And they say, all right, let's call her family. So they call the mom, hey, have you heard from Dorothy? And they were like, no, Dorothy, she never came here. That's when they get worried, and they call the police. So they call the police and try to launch this investigation of what happened. They find Dorothy's car around 4:30 in the morning in an alleyway about 10 miles away from the hospital, and it's on fire. Like, it's just set ablaze, but there's still no sign of Dorothy. And this clue of them finding her car was the only clue that they had of her disappearance for the next few years. Wow. So after this gets published in the paper, like the next day or whatever, Dorothy's missing, blah, blah, blah. Somebody calls up to that newspaper that published it, and they were like, I'm the one who killed Dorothy. And it's the same guy, the same killer.
He's going public with it, huh?
Yeah, he's going public, and he like hangs up. So even though he used to call Dorothy and stalk her and stuff, he starts harassing her parents after this. So every Wednesday afternoon, he would call and be like, is Dorothy home? Oh, I have her, ha ha ha. Like, just do creepy stuff like that. Or say that he killed her, or he would always call and just say like, just looking for her, just being super creepy. And of course this distressed the family, and this went on for years. Right. So finally, in 1984, this is 4 years after she's gone missing, no one has still found her. The guy keeps calling, and he calls once, but this time he called a little later than usual. Usually the mom answers, but this time the father answered because he was home. He was like, hey, is Dorothy home? And the father says, no, you have the wrong number. And this, I guess, startled the killer because he had never heard the dad answer before, and he hangs up. And he doesn't call again for a few months. Okay. So now this leads people to speculate a few things. that either one, whoever the killer is, obviously they had to know Dorothy because they knew all the clues and stuff. When he called up to the newspaper, he had given so many details, like where she was, that she was wearing a red scarf, all these details that they never leaked out to the public. Fast forward back to the dad's conversation. People speculate either it's someone that she worked with or that had some kind of in to like know all her daily routines, or it was a friend of the father's, and that it spooked him because he thought that the dad might recognize his voice.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because remember, Dorothy said that she kind of recognized the voice, but not really. So maybe it was a father's friend that she met, but they were scared that like, oh, the dad's gonna know who I am. He doesn't call back for a few months, and then the calls continue coming in, and then finally, I want to say a few months after that, like maybe in August, on a construction site, or a construction worker is exploring some area, and they find these dog bones. And next to the dog bones, they find human remains. So of course he calls the police, they inspect everything, and they find out through dental records that it is Dorothy.
Jesus.
But to this day, like nobody ever knows who this man was. And this was only 1980. So the killer could possibly still be out there. He might be old, but still around.
So it's not solved.
It's an unsolved mystery. To this day, nobody knows who did it. And like I said, they speculate a father's friend or a coworker. And they did say that Dorothy did have another coworker whose brother was kind of obsessed with her and would always like talk about her and bring her up. And he's like not the most mentally stable person, but they have no evidence to get him on. But I just thought it was super creepy, and like, because stalkers, that's a real thing.
No, it just pisses me off that he's not caught yet.
Right? Oh, when I read this story, I was pissed off too, because I love reading unsolved mysteries, but I also hate them, especially knowing that this person is still out there.
We all can get stalked, men or women. It doesn't matter, but of course, you know, a man stalking a woman is going to be much more. It's just, and I've got a lot of messages from people.
Yeah, what's like the craziest message that you've ever like received?
You know, a lot of girls send me videos themselves masturbating.
Oh,
can you say that? And you know what's funny is, like, I do get like creepy wise. I do get like, oh, I want to suck on your organs or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's just
same here. Like I've had people who like send like that. Literally like thousands of messages over and over, and I don't respond. And I'm not one for like usually blocking people, but sometimes it gets out of hand.
Yeah.
I did have one guy message me and send me like the most grotesque shit that he wanted to like do to me and stuff like that. And he was like, when we're done, then I want to leave you like and steal something from me, and that was either going to be like all of my pubes or some of my teeth. So he got blocked because that was I was like, oh yeah, no, unprovoked too. Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Fucking like that crazy guy who wants your teeth.
Yeah, I want my teeth. Why do you want my teeth? Speaking of Halloween, what are you gonna do this year for Halloween?
You know, honestly, I don't think I'll really go out this year, because you know, I think we all know what happened last year
In Itaewon.
Yeah, it was. You know, I think it was traumatic. Honestly, you know, being there, and I was there. I was present
Both of us.
at the moment.
Yeah.
I went there, and I was luckily I was at the other side of the big street. I was like on the other side. We go out to the big street, and then there was just bodies
lined up,
and they were giving CPR. And the best thing we thought was we had to get the fuck out of here. That was the best thing. And then, but the most fucked up thing for me, what I saw was not the dead bodies. It was the people laughing and recording those bodies with their phone. That was the most traumatic thing ever. I was like, we have to move. We have to get out of here.
Yeah, make room, make space.
That was the best scenario.
Yeah, I didn't see anyone like laughing or anything. I did see like people pulling out phones and stuff like that when we were trying to get out of there and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think also like the next day, there was just such an eerie feeling and just a silence throughout Itaewon, Haebangchon, everywhere, which is crazy because it's such a lively area. And
I think just personally too. I think for 2 weeks, I'm sure we're both like kind of. It was just energy was low.
It was even hard just to even walk up that main street as well.
A friend of mine passed away.
I'm so sorry.
No, but I literally had a conversation with him the night before. He was like, "You going to Itaewon?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm there." He's a very active person on social media, but then he wasn't uploading any stories. And I go to his profile, and then there's all these comments saying, "I miss you."
Yeah.
So I realized, wow, like, you know, you just never know what's gonna happen.
You never know.
Right.
Like life is so short, and you don't know the last time you're gonna see somebody, or life is so unpredictable.
I just try to. I think it's really important that we should enjoy every single day. Enjoy.
And tell people you love them. Tell people you care about them too.
Yeah, especially your family, your parents. You know.
Just be aware of your friends and yourself, and take care of yourself too.
Yeah, please do. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the stories that we told did creep you out a little bit. You know, were you creepy?
I was creeped out. Yeah, you made me not want to travel now.
To Vietnam.
Well, anyway, you never know.
Yeah, but thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our socials will be linked in the description box below. Please comment, share with your friends.
Yes,
turn
definitely
on that
share.
Notification bells. Happy Halloween. Please stay safe out there, and we will see you next time.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.